Hello heroes and villains, welcome to Multiverse. Today we are going to take a look at the brand of Hecate. I've already made a video about it, but that was on the test server, and there was some changes since it was added to the live server. So let's get this party started. Let's look at the artifact before it gets upgraded. How can you get the artifact? Very simple. Go talk to John Constantine in the Cursed Gotham map, and it will give you the artifact. It'll give you the artifact and also the augments for the new DLC. So to start with, it is a controller artifact. So if you're not a controller, sadly you're not really going to want to use it. But the abilities you get are Blood Moon Brand, and there's also a combo called Harvest Moon Call. And here you can see the upcoming ranks where you get bonuses. So you will get Blood Moon Brand at rank 80, then it will get improved at rank 120, 160, and rank 200. And let's go back to our multiverse character. So if we start by looking at Blood Moon Brand, it damages 2, 3, 4, 6 enemies over time for 26% of your vitalization and 4% of your might if they have a controller debuff on them. It says that it refreshes all controller debuffs on enemies, and that is no longer true. I'm not sure why they did not change that. And it marks them for Harvest Moon Call for 26 seconds. It grants you stacks of 1.875% of might and vitalization for each controller debuff on the target, up to a maximum of 24 stacks. And branding bosses grants triple stacks. So here you can see the reduced power cost based on stack numbers. If you have 8 stacks, 5% reduction, 16 stacks, 15% reduction, and 24 stacks, 25% reduction. And there's the combo Harvest Moon Call. We'll take a look at that in just a second. So you will damage enemies based on your vitalization and might, but also it will be conditional to having controller debuffs on those enemies, and ideally you want to have all 3 debuffs on the enemies. So the brand of Hecate seems to have been made to work well with the Bird of Precoming device. So the Bird of Precoming device will apply 3 debuffs all at once to one target, although if you use the Amulet of Ra, the Amulet of Ra will apply the debuffs to additional targets. So ideally, you will want to cast the debuffs on multiple targets and then use the brand of Hecate. It'll make more sense when we actually show it to you in just a minute. And also there's the combo Harvest Moon Call. Unmarks and damages up to 8 enemies that are marked by Blood Moon Brand. It'll make more sense when you actually see it in just a second. For 34% of your vitalization and 5.2% of your might. And also it restores power to 3 group members. This effect increases for each control debuff on the target. So again, you benefit from having all 3 debuffs on the target as opposed to just having 1 debuff. So you want to apply more than 1 debuff to the target, and you want to apply that to multiple targets. So that is why it works well with the Bird of Precoming device, because you do apply all 3 debuffs at once, and thanks to the Amulet of Ra, you apply those debuffs to up to 8 enemies. So basically they made that so that the controllers could be a bit more useful in battle. So with that you should be able to do extra damage, but you will still be able to give power to the group, thanks to being able to give power to 3 group members. Now the intent is to make controllers do more damage and be more useful, but in practice, people don't seem to care about that. Sadly, even with the brand of Hecate, there are people who will ask you to switch to DPS. It's sad, but that's how it is. So the brand of Hecate will give you the Blood Moon Brand ability, which you can add to your loadout. And you should already have the Bird Blitz from the Bird of Precoming device. Let's open the combat parser a bit. So if all you do is use the brand and the combo, nothing really happens. Also, you saw in the artifact it was talking about the combo. So you have to cast the brand, then you have to press melee to activate the combo. But again, if there's no debuffs, it doesn't do anything. So let us use the Bird of Precoming device to apply the debuffs, and then we can use the brand. And you saw it did a whole bunch of damage. And you can see also it started giving us the Blood Moon. Actually, when I did this, there we go. So the more you use the brand, the more it will fill the moon. And the more it fills the moon, the better the ability will work. I missed my combo. I'm so sad now. So let's wait a second. Let's try that again. So you can see roughly how much damage it seems to do. So let's get the Bird Blitz, the ability. So you can see the, it's kind of hard to see with the names of the sparring targets. But you can see you're marking the targets with the brand. And then you can execute the combo. And the brand does last for a bit, so even if you mess up, you should still be able to benefit from the brand. Usually you can cast the combo easily enough, but there are certain missions where you will get interrupted a lot. So let's try that again. And you'll notice that using the combo did not remove the debuffs from the targets. So it is something that has been changed. And normally the Bird of Prey coming device makes it so that your debuffs last only for 6 seconds. But thanks to the brand of Hecate, your debuffs actually last much longer than that. So let's try that again. So you can get an idea of how much damage you'll do with that combo. The loadout I'm using with this is basically my group power heal, then the Blood Moon brand. I'm using Event Horizon my supercharge because I want to have a group shield, and it also will be a group power heal. Anomaly will be my supercharge generator, and it works really well also as a crowd control. You'll see that in just a second. Quantum tunneling. Quantum tunneling is one of those abilities that's so useful. I have to use it. I have no choice. And of course, the Bird Blitz, which applies all 3 debuffs all at once, and it is also a supercharge generator. So with the Bird Blitz and with the Anomaly, I actually have 2 supercharge generator, which will allow me to spam Event Horizon a little bit more. So let's try that again. So normally I would start by giving a buff to everyone, so let's do that. Then I would crowd control everyone, because sometimes when you use the Bird Blitz, some enemies will jump on your character. So if you crowd control them first, they're going to be stuck and they won't be able to jump on you. And then you will be able to hit them with the combo, no problem. So let's try that one more time. So we buff everyone, crowd control the enemy so that they don't jump us. But also, you cannot really use it non-stop without any interruption. Like you can see there's a bit of a cooldown that you have to wait for. So sometimes you will even have the time to make maybe a weapon attack or 2 while you wait for the cooldown. So normally you would go buff, crowd control, debuff, and the mighty combo. And you can end with some sort of weapon attack. Personally I love Pulse Beam, but I might be alone in my corner. Also, as you can see, we were able to fill the moon. So let's try that again. So here you can get an idea of more or less how much damage you can do with one rotation. And if you're wondering why sometimes you'll see the Zod emblem, it's because I'm using the evil General Zod as an ally. I did show my loadout. For the stat points, I usually go with Focus Superpowers, Critical Power Chance, Critical Power Magnitude. I'm pretty much old school. I will go full Vitalization, and then I will go Might and Power. But there's this school of thought where there are people who want to go Might and Power first, and then Vitalization. I would simply say to that, try it out. Try it with maxing Vitalization, and try it with maxing Might and Power, and you'll see which you prefer. And in this case, you do get 20% of your Vitalization, as opposed to, let's say, 4% of your Might. So it does seem to make more sense to use a Vitalization, but you decide. Oh, some people decided to join me. Ah, that's so nice of them. Holy Batman! Now what if you're a buff controller and you are using the Claw of Aelkun instead? So in this case, I'm still using the Amulet of Ra, so obviously the Claw, and I wanted to use the brand of Hecate. Normally a buff troll would use the Tetrahedron of Vergrand, and they would put their skill points into health, so that they would get might equal to 2% of their health. So basically they would put their skill points into might and power, and then they would put their skill points into health so that their Tetrahedron would benefit from that. I kept my skill points the same way, Vitalization first, and then might and power. And the loadout I went with in this case is a Temporal Extortion by a group power heal. And since I'm not using the Bird Blitz in this case, I have to have 3 debuffs. So I'm using Singularity for enemy defense. I'm still using Anomaly as the supercharge generator, so it reduces also the ability to heal. And I'm using Warp Barrage to reduce the damage. Still using Event Horizon for my supercharge. I already messed up. Although you can see the moon last quite a long time, I still have a half a moon. So again, I would start with the group buff, and then I would get into casting the debuffs, and then end with the combo. Oh, and that was enough to fill our moon, to go from half moon to full moon somehow. So you can see the amount of damage that one rotation did. Let's try that again. So here you really need your entire loadout in order to be able to gain the full benefit from the brand. And the odds of getting interrupted are a bit increased because of that. Like you could get interrupted at any time in your rotation. Although even if you mess up one of the debuffs, you could still cast the brand, but it's going to be more effective if you have all 3 debuffs on all the targets. In general, it seems to do a bit more damage than the other rotation. But I didn't, see I messed it up, but I didn't really crunch the numbers, so it may be just a false impression. So usually with this rotation, it does a bit more than 2 million damage. With the other one, usually it does a bit under 2 million damage. Again, I did not crunch the numbers, so it's just an impression I have, a guesstimation based on what I saw. See, in this case, it did a bit less than 2 million. But you can actually go through the rotation without stopping if you want to. By the time you're done casting the combo, you're pretty much ready to be able to start the whole thing all over again. So in some mission, you will be able to just cycle through your rotation as much as you like, but there are missions where you will get interrupted quite a lot. So this is the brand of Hecate. In theory, it is supposed to make controllers more desirable in a group. Sadly, in practice, it doesn't seem to be working all that much. I still have pretty much as many people asking me to switch to DPS as before, and maybe most people just don't know that now we do have the mighty brand of Hecate, which allows us to do a bit of extra damage. Maybe they don't care, maybe people don't like that artifact. I don't have the answer to that just yet. Oh, and one more thing. If you are wondering how I was able to upgrade the artifact to rank 200 so quickly, I had been saving my Ant Metal for quite some time. So I had a whole bunch of Ant Metal to use when we did get the artifact. And it wasn't enough just yet to be able to upgrade it to rank 200. But also, I had a whole bunch of Destiny tokens. I had like 55, almost 60 Destiny tokens. So I used at least some of them to be able to upgrade the artifact. I purchased some Ant Metal from Dr. Fate. And that did allow me to upgrade the artifact. And I had a few thousands source marks accumulated. So thanks to my Destiny tokens, I was able to get the Ant Metal I needed. And thanks to my source marks, I was able to purchase the catalyst I needed to be able to upgrade the artifact to rank 200 very quickly. Now obviously this is a controller artifact, so if you're not playing as a controller, the artifact is not going to be very useful to you. So there you go guys, so this is the brand of Hecate. If you have any questions, feel free to ask so in the comment section down below. I'll see what I can do about answering your questions. Also, what is your experience with this artifact so far? Are you using it? Do you like using it? Are people kicking you out even if you're using it? Let us know in the comment section down below.